everything. Nothing is off topic. Nothing is off limits. We give it to you raw and uncut. Even the serious topics, we always throw in that little comical twist because at the end of the day, you just got to laugh about life, right? So I'm Jay,
Okay.
and this is the JK Theory. So for this episode, we're going to keep it interesting here. We're going to talk about WWE or WWF's top managers. Managers got to get some love. You don't really see the managers anymore,
You know,
So I'm going to start it off here. One of my favorite managers, Bobby the Brain Heenan. I mean, he is the best commentator, hands down. He not only set the bar, he is the bar when it comes to commentating. He's managed people like Jesse the Body Ventura, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect. I mean, guy's got an impeccable track record. He's not afraid to take bumps. He's a manager that wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty. And as a manager, people hated him. Okay. But as a commentator, people loved him. That's where he shined. So I got Bobby Heenan as like my top guy.
Bobby Heenan is definitely the top guy. Like, there is nobody like Bobby the Brain Heenan, period.
Absolutely. Who do you have for one of your managers?
Paul Heyman or Paul E. Dangerous, depending on which brand you want to go with. Definitely, he's not there with Bobby Heenan, but I think he is the closest thing to a Bobby Heenan that we've had in a very long time. Not only did he run ECW, the craziest wrestling organization you probably gonna find ever, he was also the managers of Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, the Dangerous Alliance, like RVD. I mean, the man has done so much for wrestling. So
CM Punk.
CM Punk, exactly. He is definitely the acre for 2 days.
Absolutely. I mean, the wise man as he's known now, right?
Yes.
And the man doesn't fight.
No.
And even at how old is he now? 60 something?
Probably, yeah, he probably about 60 something.
He just went through a table. Like, the man doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of talk the talk, damn, he can control that crowd.
Yes.
There could be
Yes.
30 or 40,000 people. The man doesn't even fight. And he has that mic in his hand, and they're all just eating out of his hands, man. He is amazing. Love the guy. Love the guy, Paul Heyman. I've got someone here. It's a female. I've got Sensational Sherry, also known as Scary Sherry.
Yes.
Sherry Martel. I mean, she's amazing. So, former women's champion, very street, very edgy. But on the other side, she had that like sexiness, like that edgy sexiness. She's not one to mess with. Definitely not. She'll punch you in the face. She don't care. She's worked with the Macho Man.
Yes.
She's worked with Ric Flair. She's worked with Ted DiBiase, Shawn Michaels, Jake the Snake, Tatanka, Harlem Heat.
Yeah.
So I mean, she's just amazing. Love her elaborate outfits and stuff. She looked like a fancy ostrich. Like, she'd come out with all these feathers and all this stuff. She was crazy. So Scary Sherry, absolutely. Who do you have next?
I have somebody that people don't give enough credit to.
Okay, who you got?
That is Jim Cornette.
Ah, okay.
Jim Cornette is that loudmouth with the tennis racket. That is amazing on the mic. Well, he's loud, but he knows how to work a crowd. He knows how to talk. He knows how to interfere when it's time to interfere. He has managed some of the best talent in the world, period. I know he's he was in WWF, but he's more known for his work outside of WWF. But I still think he's one of the most talented managers out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he used to be like a booking agent for the
He did.
wrestlers
Yep.
down south too.
He was Midwest. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean he bleeds it, man. He definitely lives it and bleeds it. Speaking of loudmouth, I've got one. I've got the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Oh man, so small guy, big hair, right? Colorful suits, megaphone.
Megaphone.
You ain't gonna miss him. You ain't gonna miss him.
Yeah.
I mean, just a ball of energy. The way he would talk, he was like, Hulk Hogan. Well, let me tell you something, brother. And he was like, well, let me tell you something. Like, oh man, he was just hilarious. He obviously he managed Hulk Hogan. He was with the Iron Sheik,
Yes.
Honky Tonk Man, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, Kamala, and Ravishing Rick Rude. And speaking of Kamala, it just hit me. Like our vice president is Kamala Harris. That's wow. I didn't put that together. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, Jimmy Hart, man. Oh man, this guy loved it. Every time he was on there, he always had a smile on his face. You can tell he loved what he was doing.
Yes.
And he wasn't afraid to hit you with the megaphone either. So I like the managers that not only look the part, but they'll get dirty. They'll get in the ring. They'll get involved. So who do you have next?
The man, the myth, the legend, Paul Bearer.
Who was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Paul Bearer.
Oh man, okay.
Cannot forget Paul Bearer. When he first when he first came to WWE or WWF at the time, everybody was like, what the hell is that walking down the aisle? But he gave Undertaker that kind of like that push where he needed. Because at first, remember they had Undertaker with Brother Love. And it was but
I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, that was but with Paul Bearer, it gave him that extra little push that he needed. And so Paul Bearer has managed The Undertaker. He's managed Kane. He's managed Vader. He's managed Mankind. Kind of all the weird people. But he was weird himself. And he was a real life. He owned a freaking funeral parlor.
He was a pallbearer.
He really was a pallbearer. Like,
yeah. And what I love is now with wrestlers doing podcasts like Taker's got one.
Yeah.
We get to know Paul Bearer behind the scenes, even though he's passed away. He was a jokester. He was a trickster. Yeah. And he would try to make Undertaker break character, which I just love to hear that. So it's dope. Yeah, Paul Bearer, definitely. And the way they would keep him in the story. I mean, at one point, he was Undertaker's dad. Like,
Kane. He was crazy. Kane's dad.
Oh, Kane's dad. Yeah, he was Kane's dad. So he just rolled with the punches, man.
Yeah.
It was nice. And he'd get hit too. So he wasn't
afraid he took his bumps.
Exactly. So one that I have is a former wrestler himself, Mr. Fuji. Also known as Master Fuji. Yes. So Mr. Fuji was like this evil little man. He would hit you with umbrellas or hit you with flags. He would throw salt on your face. He managed Demolition, Yokozuna, Sika, Kamala, the Berserker, and Crush. And when I talk about somebody that's not afraid to get dirty, yeah, if you're fighting him or you're fighting one of his people, you're getting salt blown in your face. It's just going to happen. I didn't know what that salt was. I thought it was baby powder at first. And I'm like, how is he throwing salt? That doesn't make sense. And I found out they were like sodium tablets. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. But, man, he's interfered in some major matches, including the one that comes to mind is the one that you don't like, Lex Luger versus Yokozuna, and he got involved in there. And You know, he was supposed to spray Lex Luger. He ended up spraying Yoko, and oh man, it was just a mess. But yeah, Mr. Fuji definitely, he's definitely in the books for top manager.
Oh, hands down. He's definitely one of the greatest managers slash wrestlers
Yeah,
that people probably don't even really realize that he did actually wrestle back then. So
absolutely.
yeah.
Do you have any others on your list you need to mention?
I can mention, and I know this is old school. People probably don't know this guy, especially the youngsters. But Classy Freddie Blassie is one of the greatest managers ever, like period, ever. Okay, he had that factor that they say in wrestling. He had everything. He would always manage the top guys. He always stuck his nose in people business that didn't belong. The last time that Classic Freddie Blassie was actually on wrestling was during the WWE or WWF, however you want to say it, versus WCW angle, and he gave the motivational speech to the WWF wrestlers. So I just think that Classy Freddie Blassie should always be mentioned as one of the top managers, besides managing people like Nikolai Volkov, Adrian Adonis, which
Oh,
people probably don't even know who the hell that is.
oh,
Uh, Iron Sheik, the Iron Sheik.
Sheiky baby.
Yes. Jesse Bobby Ventura. He was also, again, you youngsters probably don't even know this, wrestlers had a cartoon back in the day called Rockin' Wrestling that he was a part of. So, Classy Freddie Blassie definitely gets that nod from me.
You know, I don't recall that speech, so I definitely got to look that up.
Yes.
Guys, if you're watching this and you know the speech, leave a link in the comments. I would love to see that. But to know that, man, this guy took the time, the energy to give a speech to WWF wrestlers like that, that means a lot. He cares, man. He definitely cares. So hats off to him as well. Hats off to all the managers. There's many more to mention, but
Yes.
honestly, these are the ones that stuck with us and stuck with us for a reason. So if you guys feel that there's a manager that we should have mentioned, leave a comment, let us know. If you agree or totally disagree, leave a comment, let us know, you know. And another thing, guys, subscribe. It doesn't cost you a dime to do that, but it lets us know that you like our content and you want us to continue. So this is the JK Theory. I'm Jay,
Okay.
and until next time, peace.
Peace.